It's a little bit of low-hanging fruit, I will admit, but I did want to take a glancing look back at Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League right now and the state of that game, as WB and Rocksteady have faced layoffs, criticism internally from CEO David Zaslav, criticism internally from their own employees regarding this game, and a lot of criticism from, well, I guess all of us. Now, if you enjoy this game, I'm happy for you. This is not really a shot at the people who like this game or who did like this game or who, continue to play it. That's on you. You can enjoy what you want. I can't tell you how many things I've liked in life that I felt were either overly harshly criticized or just completely ignored. So I understand that. Overall, I've talked about this game before, and WB was pretty desperate to try and get it off their hands, to try to get it into players' hands and get people to interact with it. And that's kind of hit a little bit of a new low in the Steam Autumn Sale and the Epic Games Store sale on PC, as this game has now fallen to just $5 for the actual digital deluxe edition. Keep in mind that is the version that they have been trying to sell for $100 since it came out. Obviously, there have been some sales in the middle, but this game is actually not that old. It's like, a year old. That's it, really. It's not like this is a 5 to 10-year-old game. Now, far be it from me to criticize deals. Deals are great, and the better deal you want to give to your customer, the bigger round of applause you'll get from me. But the reason this deal exists is because of just how poorly this game did and how little it actually connected with players and fans of the source material or these characters, or even just casual fans of the Batman Arkham universe. So we're going to talk about this for a few minutes today. If you enjoy the video, you want to leave a like, subscribe, let me know what you think in the comments down below. But I do have a question of the day for you, which is, what is the biggest failure in gaming? And by that I mean, what is the biggest game that just flopped, or project that was, close to done and then it got dropped, or anything like that? I'm interested to hear your thoughts down below. Because Suicide Squad and games like Concord, actually, which I don't always go after the low-hanging fruit, okay? I pretty much just left Concord to die on its own. Games like that, they do certainly fit the bill for me. Suicide Squad was a pretty big project. It reportedly had a very big budget. It took a long time. We've talked about is it worth playing or not. At the end of the day, what I think about this game is that it has a decently fun gameplay loop, believe it or not, with like jumping around, traversing, shooting things, grabbing a Riddler trophy here and there as like just a casual gameplay experience. I didn't really have a problem with that. And what I personally thought, though, was that the story and the tone and the dialogue and the writing quality were pretty disrespectful to a lot of different people. I think they were pretty disrespectful to the fans. I think they were pretty disrespectful to the voice talent who had to do them. I think they were pretty disrespectful to anyone who even had a passing interest in the Arkham universe. Overall, when this game came out, I said that the reason people cared about all of the spoilers and the stuff around it with, Batman dying, the reason I said people cared about that was because it was either cheap rage bait to get people upset, like, why, now you get to kill your heroes. Just kidding, they're not really your heroes. Or it was really just killing your heroes. I genuinely think they were inspired by so many different things with this that they didn't know where they were going. They were being pulled in so many different directions, reportedly, by the studio heads. And, there were features cut during development. Like, for example, they said that at one point there was supposed to be a fully customizable vehicle type portion of this game that ended up getting stripped down because they just couldn't get it working. That took months of their time and resources. So this game had troubled development all around. But when I said some of these things, there were a lot of people back then who defended the game, who said, no, the game's going to be good, or no, it is good. You're just too sensitive. You're too sensitive about your heroes dying, etc. Which is extremely ironic to me because some of my favorite storylines in comic books have been heroes getting maimed, killed, or crippled. Not because I think it's like, oh yeah, let's do some torture porn here, but because how they rise above that story around them. Barbara Gordon going from being Batgirl to being confined to a wheelchair to becoming Oracle, rising above that. You know, you got characters like Batman getting pretty much partially paralyzed by Bane for a while in Nightfall. You have things like the death of Superman. You have things like the death of Ultimate Spider-Man. Things like Demon in a Bottle. Tony Stark struggling with alcoholism. These are not your heroes at their best. These are not your heroes at their peak. But what they were your heroes brought down to their lowest depths, down to their knees, and then they have to find a way out. Those are things I think are really interesting. And sometimes heroes can just straight up lose and die too with no real moral lesson and no real victory either, and that can actually be a good story. The problem with Suicide Squad is it was never a good story, and it turned out later on that the whole thing was just that, rage bait. It was not really the Justice League, it was clones of the Justice League in the most comic book turn ever. A thing that people, hand-waved away and said, well, it's fine if it's in comic. No, it's usually criticized if it's in comics too. There are very, very few clones in comics that get like a pass or get like not heavily criticized. A couple I can think of are ones like Jessica, from Ultimate Spider-Man, maybe some like Ben Reilly, although he was still subject to heavy criticism with Spider-Man. A lot of the times clone storylines did get heavily criticized. Now, at the end of the day, this game got heavily criticized. It got criticized because that gameplay loop, even though, like I said, was admittedly like enjoyable in like a small amount for people that like that kind of game, like they enjoy shooters, they enjoy fast traversal, things like that. And even though Metropolis was a pretty city, this game is not filled with technical depth. There's actually not that much to it. It becomes very repetitive. The post-game content that was added in over the last year has been kind of pathetic. It's really just gone down as like, go kill this Brainiac from an alternate reality, or go kill this Brainiac who is using the powers of a Justice League member from an alternate reality. Okay, you did it. Here's like a 30-second animated cutscene. And, it was something too where I think a lot of us actually hoped that as disappointing as the main story was, that maybe they could bring it back, rein it in, and even though they shouldn't have to do this, that maybe that post-launch content being added onto it would make it a lot more interesting. Maybe it would do things like give us some more of Kevin Conroy, who unfortunately passed away. Again, another thing that I think was put on this game was Kevin Conroy's death. I talked about that too. I think that is a little unfair. Like, that's not something that the game can help. But this was one of several projects that wasted Kevin Conroy's talents before he passed. And now he's no longer with us. So instead of getting the 950 different cool comic book type inspired fan projects any of us could think of with Kevin Conroy, like, hey, what if you did this animated Batman movie with Kevin? Hey, what if you brought back the DCAU and made it good with Kevin? Hey, what if you did a limited series of this with Kevin? Hey, what if you had, Kevin do another Arkham game? Instead of getting any of that, we got this. It's like when you're expecting pizza and you get like a shitty meatloaf, right? Another Ultimate Spider-Man reference. If you can name the comic book that's from, the issue that's from, let me know. But I think all of these things kind of came together to make Suicide Squad just look very pathetic. The numbers came out on Steam. They were also pathetic. The people who tried to push this game and make it huge got so butthurt that they looked pathetic, and now none of them are anywhere to be found because pretty much everyone has abandoned the game. And this is why we come full circle to this desperate attempt in the modern day of WB and Rocksteady, both of whom who have suffered layoffs, who have suffered stocks tanking, who have suffered public embarrassment, partially because of this game, which has even been blamed for many of these things. It's led them to discount this game's most expensive editions on PC to just $5. Great for people who want a deal, and you know what? I would actually say the game's probably worth $5. I know there's going to be some people who say, oh, I wouldn't even play that if it was free. I get it. That's totally fair. And you know what? Probably a better use of your time not to. But, for $5 to be able to mess around on really anything for a few hours and just play a shooting game, it's kind of whatever. So if you really wanted your chance to get your hands on this dumpster fire, now would be your time if you're a PC player. I know that the Steam sale goes for like 3 more days. I don't really know about the Epic one, probably 2 or 3 more days as well. So you can get your hands on it if you want. Would I recommend you do? Not really. I think that for $5, you could go buy yourself a burger at McDonald's and you'll walk away happier. But if you do want to shoot Batman in the face, this is your shoot Batman in the face simulator. So this is pretty much the only option on the market to shoot Batman in the face, other than maybe Lego Batman playing as a thug. So there you go. Now, if you've always dreamed of shooting Batman in the face, the game's for you. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. We have several ways to support our channels. We have other channels like Degenerate Plays, where we play through games, Let's Plays, podcast style. We have Magical Jill. We make a lot of anime videos over there. We have a Fortnite code, which is DJAY123. And we have our own store, CosmoBunny.shop, where you can use code DJAY123 for 10% off your first purchase. We sell coasters, keychains, trays, and more from recycled, repurposed comic book, manga, magazine, and more paper that has been damaged. Sometimes people leave these comics in their attic. Sometimes local stores will have gotten them from pawn shops. They will be dirt cheap and damaged. What we do is we take some of that paper, we save it, we transform it into new art for your home, give it some new life, and then instead of things going to the landfill here, we actually recycle them. So we hope you enjoy that. Be sure to check that out. Have a fantastic day. And as always, everyone, stay shui.